You've got the big brands, and two of the big names that just pop into my mind are Continental and Victoria. And there's a lot of other brands like Pirelli and Michelin and Swalby. So those are all around, and they sort of come to the tip of your tongue almost immediately when you think of bicycle tyres. And there's a few others like Challenge and so forth. But if you want something that's an alternative and it's a European brand, well, Veloflex are an Italian brand that really offers a high performance tyre at a fairly competitive price, and it's something to consider. So let's roll our intro and let's have a talk about Veloflex, what's so great about their tyres, and why should you buy them? Well, Veloflex are a traditional made tyre. And what I mean by traditional made tyre, they're a chorospun, which is basically a type of cotton that's woven a certain way to give it a high strength. And they use a 350 threads per inch construction, which is very, very high in the bicycle manufacturing world. And they generally focus mostly on road bikes, and all of the tyres are made with that similar type construction. So what different type of tyres do they offer? Now, traditionally, we had our Tubulars, which are a cotton-made tyre. So they offer them, and that's the ones that I buy and the ones that I run. I run the tubular tyres from Veloflex, and what they are is they're a completely sealed tyre. They're sewn up. There's not open at the bottom and have hooks that hold them on like you would have with a clincher with a tube tyre. They're sewn up. The tube and tyre is fully enclosed. Some people don't like running them because you can't get to the tube, you can't replace the tube, and you can't repair them. But I like running them, and the way that I repair them on the side of the road is by putting sealant in, and that generally fixes them, and then you can just keep riding until the tyre's worn out or you get another puncture and you put a bit more sealant in. Sometimes the sealant, depending on the type of sealant you use, can attack the tube of the tyre after some months, and the tyre you have to throw away. But generally, it fixes them for quite a long time. So Veloflex actually offer a range of tyres from 23mm up to 32mm. Now the 32mm actually hasn't been released yet, but that's in development. It's going to be released soon. And they're all made of the same construction. So you can get 23, 25, and 28mm, and they come in tan sidewalls, and they also come in black sidewalls. So if you go to the website, you can see that. And the pricing is between 50 to 60 euros on their website. So they're maybe a little bit more expensive, but they're fairly competitive. You probably can get some of the bigger brands cheaper on some of these online websites, but buying directly from the factory, that's what their pricing is. Now, Veloflex has a really informative website that you can go to, and what's really good about it is they have some information about the rim size and the tyre size that you should be running, and for what rim size related to the tyre. They've got a chart there, and you can have a look at that chart, and then you can see what tyres should fit with what rim, and obviously that applies to clinchers and to tubeless ready. And they also give you some information about the ETRTO as well, which is a standard that covers tyres in Europe. And there's some really nice reading there if you're sort of interested in that sort of stuff. So go check it out. And I've talked about the ETRTO before, which is basically a industry standard in Europe that a number of manufacturers are following. Now, all of Veloflex tyres are handmade in Italy, and they've been making these tyres since 1981. So they've been around for a long time. And when you look at the tyres and you see one in the flesh, you can really see it's really good quality. And you can also see how soft they are because they have a 350 threads per inch construction, or TPI, that they reference. And when you get the tyres, you can easily flex them and move them because they're so soft. It's just like a piece of clothing, like a t-shirt, because basically that's what it is. It's a cotton style construction called chorospun. And this is what makes these tyres so beautiful to ride on. They're very soft. They give a really plush ride. And what I really like about them as well is they have ability to kind of stretch a fair bit. And as a tubular rider, you have to stretch the tyre onto the rim. And this makes it very, very easy. I could probably mount a tubular tie using tape as quick as someone putting on a clincher tie with a tube, maybe a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit longer, depending on the expertise of the person doing it. But I would probably say around about the same time. It's very, very quick and it's very, very easy. And that's because of the construction of the tie and the way it stretches. Whilst if you use something like a Continental competition tire, those things are really hard to stretch on. So if you do thinking of buying the Continental competition tubulars, you haven't run tubulars before, you want to get into them, just be aware that the Continental tire is extremely difficult to get on the rims. So in conclusion, we have a handmade European high specification tyre for road bikes coming in around about 50 to 60 euros pricing from their website. And they're a really good alternative to the main brands. And what I really like about them is they're a small company and they grew out of when Victoria closed down their factory in Italy and took it to Thailand. So all Victoria tyres are made in Thailand. And some of the employees got together, they bought the factory, and then they started continuing making the tyre. And they're made in a traditional way. They're made the old-fashioned way. They're made out of cotton. They're a competitive price. They're a high-quality tyre with a really nice ride feel. And I think that if you haven't tried them, you should really give them a go. I even got one of the caps off their website, which is also made in Italy, by the way. So they are really a traditionalist type company. And because they're one of the smaller companies, and they're artisans really, because the people who are running the company are working in the company, and it's not a big corporate affair, and they're a smaller type company, which I think that we should support if we can. And I would say to you guys out there, give them a try, because I think once you try them, you'll be quite happy with how they run. Well, anyway, guys, leave your comments down below. Have you tried these Veloflex tyres? Did you think that they were garbage, or did you think that they were really nice? What was your experience? Being cotton, obviously, they not got any really significant puncture protection, so maybe that's a negative for some people. But if you ride on fairly clean roads, you don't get a lot of flats generally, then I would suggest it's something worth trying. Okay, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. Remember, I'm on Rumble over there, and I always upload my videos first on Rumble, so if you're one of those people who wants to get in first and watch the videos, Rumble's the place to be. That's where I'm going to leave it. I will see you next vid.